My bigger challenges was, for example, trying to do business in South Africa when the apartheid ended and all the Western companies wanted to do business down there. And it was a great site for English-speaking companies because they speak English. It's quite Western. Some trademark thieves have stolen our trademarks down there and registered them under their names.
Really?
Names such as Big Mac, Quarter Pounder, Ronald McDonald, Golden Arches. So we had to go to court down there and had a lawsuit against these pirates, trademark pirates, and who were in a competitive business. And we eventually won it, but it was a long case. And it's kind of fun in a way, scary in another way, for me to handle litigation in foreign countries because their laws are different. I mean, not only the laws, but the procedures and what you call things. I mean, I worked on a case in London where all the lawyers wore wigs, and that was a long case. In fact, the longest case in the history of the United Kingdom. And so it was a big learning experience for me because procedures vary a little bit from state to state in the United States, but from country to country, you know, you have, for example, in South Africa, it's a combination between English and Dutch law, because the first settlers down there were from Holland. And of course, I tried cases in Brussels under the United Kingdom, the European Union courts. And I was in courthouses in Sydney, Australia, and Tokyo, and Tel Aviv, and all over. Yeah. Even in New York, which is like a foreign country to me.
Really? That must be interesting to have to play by their rules anywhere you go.
Well, it is, but you know, the one thing that's pretty common throughout the world in the law business is that the law reflects social mores. And I always said that anything that is politically wrong cannot be legally right. And I always tell the lawyers who work for me, we had a lot of them at McDonald's, use the smell bad test. Just look at a situation or explain it to your husband or wife and say who should win. And that opinion will probably be correct because some conduct is tolerable and some isn't, and a lay person can tell. I mean, I'm not talking about internal revenue, little or patent work, some of that real tough stuff, but you say somebody did this to somebody else, if it sounds wrong, it probably is. And so although the procedures are different, the outcomes are pretty much the same. Suffice it to say that the United States is far and away the most litigious country in the world. And we have cases here that wouldn't even be considered in other jurisdictions. They'd be thrown out of court in a minute. But we have a different system here. We allow juries as a matter of right. In England, we had cases where one side would ask for a jury trial. The court would say, no, this isn't appropriate for a jury trial. Maybe it's too complicated, or maybe there's too much emotion or sympathy that will cause a sympathetic verdict instead of a legal verdict.
I see.
But we don't have that. We all say right to trial by jury comes from the English law, but that's not true. Because under the English common law, there's only an absolute right to trial in a criminal case, not a civil. We apply that to civil cases.
Oh. And
we have contingent fees, which encourage lawyers to take these crazy cases and get before a sympathetic jury. And I mean, there was a case where a jury brought back $1 billion verdict against one of the car companies because of a bad paint job one time. So, you know, you can't always trust the jury system.
Wow, yeah, that's a little on the absurd side.
But it was a good gig. Practicing law at McDonald's was better than it would be for most companies. Because, and this is the kind of thing that you wouldn't know about if you weren't in the game, The McDonald's executives were extremely respectful of my position. And if I said you really can't do this, or you really have to do it this way or that way, fine. Most executives in most companies, in fact most people, resent lawyers saying you can't do this or you got to do it a certain way. You know, lawyers are looked at as speed bumps in the road
Yeah.
instead of as hindrances instead of aids. But McDonald's was really good at it. And it made my life not only easier, but I was more successful that way because I didn't have to battle. And I know a lot of lawyers just won't give an advice that their bosses don't want to hear.
Yeah, right.
But you got to. That was a hard part of my job, to tell the chairman of the company, great idea, Fred, but You know?
Yeah, you got to say it how it is.
Yeah.
Otherwise, why are you really there?
That's exactly true. You know.